What up, y'all? Day 14. Operating the trending system. Let's do this. Pre-market prep. We got this. Price kind of broke out in this mini range here. This kind of looks like it's in this range though. All right. Lock our risk settings for the day. Bracket order, make sure that's on. Some news. 9:45 and 10 a.m. Today's quote of the day is look around, look how far you've come. Step by step, you did it and will continue to thrive. It's very true. Very, very true. Okay, I'm gonna promise to follow my risk management rules. I've already set my daily risk limit for the day, so I can't go beyond any losses of over 500 and 250 risk per trade. Nothing's changed. I wait for that 15-minute candle close to break out of its range. Then we enter on the 1-minute chart. It's that simple. Gotta keep it simple. So my previous trade performance yesterday was not good. Broke my rules, went to 1K loss. Broke my rules. It was not good. So to fix that, I set my daily risk limit. And I'm going to just follow my rules. Follow my trading plan. And that's it. So yeah. If I just keep following my process, keep following my system, I know that it will work out in the end, in the long term. Just keep waking up, doing what I gotta do every day. We have 9:45 and 10 a.m. news. Nothing crazy.
Deal resolved by becoming rich. Take all your money by
What? 49.70. It's at that area where it's either going to blast through it or reject it back down and then have to go for it again later. When you get to those big round numbers, you either pull up short or you blast straight through generally. That's one to watch today, obviously, as it gets to a big round number. Silver also coming towards a big round number, 100, sorry. So which is going to happen first? Gold to 5k or silver to 100? It's a little bit pretty quiet. S&P and NASDAQ, GM. Friday, end of the week. So, from last night,
Bye.
Update.
See ya.
Overnight markets, pretty quiet. S&P and NASDAQ, both getting back up to around where they were on Friday. So far, just filling in the gap and retracing into it. We'll see if that leads to continuation or reversal. Should have some signs on that today. Gold heading towards 5,000, hasn't touched it yet. Seems set to. It's just got as high as 40. What? 49.70. It's at that area where it's either going to blast through it or reject it back down and then have to go for it again later. When you get to those big round numbers, you either pull up short or you blast straight through generally. That's one to watch today, obviously, as it gets to a big round number. Silver also coming towards a big round number at 100, sorry. So which is going to happen first? Gold to 5k or silver to 100? It's a little bit like Bitcoin to 100k or ETH to 5k, except Bitcoin actually hit 100k. Gold hitting 5k before ETH is fucking hilarious, objectively. Or you consider where it has been for the past few years and where ETH has been. All the way back, I remember back in 2020, 21, 2, 3, whenever ETH went as high as 4,900 in 2021, and gold was just 1,800, 2k. Now look at it, per ETH. So outside of that, BTC I think is set for lower. Of these passes a couple of days ago, the two most likely is one we could just see today, selling straight down. I think this after this impulse move lower, this is not the consolidation you want to see if you're a bull. There's no reaction. It's held at the lows, but it's just basing for lower. So I'll probably be looking to get short today. Off that, it's pretty much what and then here's your path where price needs to reclaim the 50-day as that moves across, which still could happen, but I think the most likely scenario is this. It's one of these two that I'd laid out, and I should just be dragging this across. Laying out these two paths from the other day, and if price retraces back up towards 92, which it did, finds resistance, which it did, I think Bitcoin's just set to go lower from here, and that would have an invalidation of Wednesday's high. I don't think price is going to take out Wednesday's high at this point. I think that's going to be resistance 90k in between, and this 50 EMA on the 1 hour is on the way down, sloping down, keeps rejecting, so that's all I need to see. 89.5 was the level I mentioned yesterday. We'll touch a little bit on it in trade of the day, but I'll be looking to enter a short position and not in line with these. I would still be looking to potentially long off of a sweep of the lows, but I think that for a higher time frame position, this is actually where you could see BTC having a deeper decline into the 80s, which is not, I'm not saying it's going to happen, obviously, but the setup is there. You can see it with the failure, multiple lower high failures. And it's if it's in this steady lower high, if it's going significantly lower, this is the price action that would lead there. So you have an impulsive move, you break structure, you trade below, you consolidate, price can't make any new highs, it's just lower and lower. And so I think that barring it, if it doesn't break Wednesday's high, I think that we're set for potentially lower. Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. But it's definitely, now after those couple of days, see when you have the impulsive move, when you have the big move down, everyone like panics, you get some kind of consolidation day. As I said on Wednesday, don't expect it to fall lower Wednesday necessarily, it's probably going to hold and hold. Not holding seems to be setting it for a move now finally through to its range low, so that's at least what I'm going to be looking for as a setup. But I also want to touch on two. I want to put two different tokens on your radar. Well, one is a token. It's called Venice AI. It is an LLM, a decentralized LLM, which I don't actually think is any good, but it'll probably get some good attention later on. And then there's Per, which is Hyperliquid Treasury Company. So I'll explain it briefly. First thing, haven't bought any of them. This is a stock. This is a token. If you go out and buy it, you're a retard. Well, you're not a retard. If you just go and buy this because of what I say now, it's your fault. It's your money, your loss, your win, whatever. I haven't bought any of these yet. These are just on my radar for later. And I'll explain why. First of all, Venice, good chart, which is all that matters at the end of the day. Hence why Per, nothing yet. Still very new, only launched back in December. And still in the early stages of just basing and post-launch. But I'll mention Venice AI first, because it's a more simple kind of idea. It's basically a decentralized, or supposed to be decentralized version of an LLM. It draws on other LLMs like ChatGPT and Grok and all those. It draws from them, but does so in like a privacy-focused way and doesn't share your data and blah, 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 blah. So it's basically what many have tried, and there's plenty of decentralized chatbot LLMs out there. But this one's got a decent founder. He's an old Bitcoin maxi and, you know, pretty, very well respected guy, Eric Voorhees. And it's been around for a year now. So we've seen all the downside, you know, it had the big spike off the open. I think it's been around even longer than the spike, but usually doesn't list them right away. But you can see that the price, let me see if there's a better chart. Yeah, it's all the same. So let's leave it here. So you get the early hype and launch and everything else, and it declines and spend a whole year going down, which is good. You see long period of underperformance, bottoms out, starts to come up. I think this is still probably months away from having a good move. The volatility is too high. The first thing I'm looking at is nothing here because the volatility is way too high. I want to see this really come down, and I want to see a nice long consolidation. So whether maybe it pulls back the whole way and has to build back up like that, or possibly it just consolidates for a while, like up at the highs here. I don't know. It could be just another repeat of this, and we have to see more decline. And so it could just be another pop off the lows, and the price has to make its way all the way back down before it can actually go again. So it could be months from now. That's why I'm not touching it and waiting. It actually is, you know, me, I don't really get interested in alts that often, and I'm not interested in holding this. It's just not my style. It's not in my plans or my game at all this year. I've done it before. If you remember the AKT, held AKT for about a year, all the way back in June 23 to June 24, two circled areas. And that was the same thing. AKT was an AI token, just nothing to do with it being like a chatbot, and it's just in the AI category, in the AI theme. It's been through a lengthy bear market and all the way down to 21. Started going off the lows, started really build, and that's when I entered, when it was really building and holding. And that's what I want to see from something like this. It's like, it's alright to rally off the lows, but maybe that's just here. It's going to come all the way back down. I think that was February 23. This is May. This is June. This is July. It takes time. And if it doesn't, if it just keeps going up, I will definitely not touch it, because then I'll wait for consolidation. But either way, it's probably going to be weeks before I'll actually trade this, or into this, months maybe. But it's on my radar. And I think the reason why is because I think that the decentralized LLM idea, especially as they progress, is something that will catch attention at some point again. And I think then this one's actually legit, and it's stuck around, and it's working, and it's got a team, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think it's going to scam and disappear or be a grifter or anything like that. But I also think this is total shit. This is not going to make it. So make no mistake, this is purely because I think it can trend, and a good trend if the chart stays up, and it can have a nice rally. But I don't think any LLM can compete with the big Silicon Valley ones, like between Claude, OpenAI, Grok, XAI, Google. They're going to be the ones that dominate, and that's it. Like there's Anthropic, the company, OpenAI, XAI, Google, and I feel like there's one I'm missing. The other big one, can't remember. Anyway, because inherently there's so much compute power required, so much centralization. Just inherently, AI is centralizing, and the LLMs are centralizing. They're going to be like, they're going to be monopolies. Right? If you think of 5 to 10 years from now, the way that Google and Amazon and Tesla and the Mag 7, the new top 5 or whatever, it's going to be all of those. It's going to be Anthropic and OpenAI, and going to be XAI. And they're all listed in public. They're going to cannibalize the space entirely, and they're going to dominate it because it's just how it is. It's just inherently centralizing. So I don't think any of these like decentralized things can actually last long term. But much like AKT, which is a decentralized alternative to, it's basically decentralized renting of compute. And I try to think of it as, you know, like a marketplace for renting GPUs. So it was designed to play off the back of the shortage of chips, and people could rent out their own GPUs. And they say it's like a decentralized cloud, and it did really well. And now it's gone to zero because it's never going to be Google Cloud or Amazon, or it's never going to compete with, not that it competes with, but it's never going to be like a fucking Nvidia or whatever. So good move, good trend, right place, right time. If that kind of thing sets up, I'm interested in this. Don't own any, probably will never own any outside of a few weeks of swing trades, but it's on my radar. And then the other one, Purr, this is based on one really simple thing, which I don't see yet, which is that Hyperliquid. So Purr is a treasury company, and it's a stock, obviously, because it's an actual company listed on stock market. That's important, because I don't think Hype is a good token to invest in, because I think Hype is just a trap for retail crypto, and then the better way to get exposure to Hyperliquid, if you're bullish on Hyperliquid, is through PER, because it's listed on the stock market. It's very simple. It's securitized, it's on the stock market, and if it's going to get institutional backing, it's going to go through there. Because all the big money doesn't want to have to take the risk of buying into fucking crypto tokens, seeing this over and over again. They'd rather buy some kind of crypto wrapper or some securitized version of it. And that's what PER does. It's just like a Bitcoin treasury company, except for Hyperliquid. All they do is they have a treasury hype. So it will be good for the hype token price, I'm sure. But I think the PER is a better way of expressing that, because a few things, when you look into the behind the scenes, who's actually behind Hyperliquid started as just this, bootstrapped, decentralized, started by one guy and his team, blah, blah, blah. But it's been taken over by the institutions. So the first step of that was a few months ago when Circle expanded with their native USDC on Hyperliquid. And especially this is a team they own with Circle, the founder, Jeremy. Circle is now a direct stakeholder in the Hyperliquid ecosystem of the first hype token investments. So Circle, USDC, which is 40 or 50 billion in size and growing, second biggest stablecoin, have invested in hype alongside Congress Token, working with innovative builders in the community, also evaluate the possibility of becoming a Hyperliquid validator, which basically is going to give them control and power over the network. Not exclusive, but anyone can become a validator, and if they go in and they go heavy on it, they'll be able to have a significant stake in the ecosystem like this. And so Hyperliquid, blah, 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 blah. You can read all that if you want. It's very clear, very simple, that they see on-chain as a possibility. And then since then, you've obviously had Hyperliquid launching on-chain perps for stocks, and they're going to eventually do it for other, like for bonds and commodities and everything else. I think they do have gold and stuff as well. And the thing I'll be watching more so for this will be like Hyperliquid's volume. Do they get more on-chain volume for TradFi than crypto? That's what's going to really matter. Hyperliquid just remains as a decentralized Binance where people just trade Bitcoin and ETH and stuff. I have no interest in it. If Hyperliquid actually gains traction and you see significant volume for, I don't know if I think it shows what the highest traded pairs are. Things I'll be watching this is Hyperliquid futures. It'll be this. It'll be these markets. Obviously, your biggest markets are going to be, if you go by volume, going to be Bitcoin always, of course, ETH, so on and so on. Gold, silver, XYZ 100. I don't know if these are. Don't know how accurate this is, but I would say it's pretty accurate at the moment. That would be the Nasdaq. That would be silver. That's gold, obviously. I need to double check and verify the numbers on these, but they're already trading significant volume. And then you've got, of course, the tokenized stocks. Right? You got Intel, you got Tesla, you got Nvidia, you got OG Gold like Pax Gold, and copper and all this. So Palantir, AMD, they're able to, because these are just perpetuals, they're able to list literally anything. This is not, you can't buy stocks that way. You're trading futures markets, which carry a lot of risk as well, because they don't close. So over the weekend, like I showed in Prof's Journal, someone got slipped like crazy on Amazon because they got hunted essentially on the weekend. There's lots of problems, but that's how it should be when something's new and innovative. And as this grows, things like the 300 nearly 350 million of volume on Nasdaq. Like that's getting to the point where you can actually trade it. So like if anyone, like a lot of you who are in Blue Belt and go on know and use Hyperliquid, like if you're trying to dollar trade Nasdaq during the New York session, you can do that in Hyperliquid. If you're trading dollar trading, if you're scaling in Purple Belt, you can do it. If you can't access NQ futures, which most people can't, they're very expensive, you need a lot of margin in the US, then Hyperliquid's an opportunity if you can get onto Hyperliquid, which again is obviously difficult. The US is just gay for these kind of things, but hopefully it'll ease up a bit this year. So I think it probably will too, with maybe not this year, but in the passing of the crypto market structure and stuff, given that big US companies like Circle are investing heavily into Hyperliquid, it seems like there's probably going to be some development in the US with it. And like that, just something like that is not insignificant. Now, that's not big enough to trade any significant size. It's not going to attract any large institutional players to trade Nasdaq on Hyperliquid. But if you avoid the out of hours, don't fucking trade NQ, because XYZ 100 is the same as NQ, or US 100 if you're trading safeties. Just like you wouldn't trade NQ overnight, because there's no fucking volume, and there's no liquidity. Trading that during the session should be plenty liquid on Hyperliquid, pun intended, for trading dollar size, smaller size, getting used to the markets. Same as silver, gold. Open interest isn't super high on those, 80 million on silver, 60 million on gold. But still, it's growing, and it should continue to grow. And if that growth continues, I think that's where Hyperliquid becomes much more interesting from a perspective of institutional exposure. So you've already got Circle, and then so Circle are getting heavily into Hyperliquid and backing it, and they provide that liquidity. Like by partnering and getting more invested in Hyperliquid, that means USDC becomes the backbone and the underpinning of it, which is what makes it more liquid, because they have that backing, which allows this to be, because everything here is custom USDC, which attracts market makers to trade there, which gives liquidity to it. And then Circle are owned by all the usuals like Vanguard, BlackRock, the typical big like Susquehanna and ARK, some big-ish either trading firms, market makers, or ISIV are one of their close/tech firms. So that's all. I mean, it's what they're going to do. So it's eventually going to that Hyperliquid is not going to be crypto. It's going to it's going to have the best chance of expanding crypto. So I think if you use Hyperliquid when you trade there, you can kind of time. I continue because I want to. I don't fuck. I have anyway. It's great liquid. I like much. I'll be like if I trade Nasdaq or gold, I would just trade the same. I would trade them on Hyperliquid. But many people will, and it opens up like the world who can access. You need $1,000 to trade on the same. To trade UBS, which is Nasdaq and S&P, or to trade SI or DC like silver and gold, you need a lot of money. You need a lot of capital. Whereas the biggest benefit, like what I said last week or a couple of weeks ago in Daily Lesson, the biggest benefit of is like, it's more fucking trading cards, no joking. But if you're in bootcamp, you know, the best place to learn how to trade is crypto. By far. Nothing comes close, because you can keep size really small. And I don't mean crypto, like just Bitcoin, I mean perps. This. You can size small, you can manage your risk really low, you can learn how to fucking trade instead of just jumping in like a retard gambler and spend the first year learning, practicing, and getting better, and learning cheap and losing a few dollars here and winning dollars there, actually being a trader on some fucking ape. And then of course other people just come in and want to gamble on these things, fine, let them do it, that'll help it grow. But I think that's the point. Stablecoins is like the only other exciting thing about crypto really. And so PER is a better expression of that than hype tokens, because PER is already listed on the Nasdaq, and it's going to be clean. It's going to be a treasury company. And of course, all the Bitcoin treasury companies are crypto, but this is like a very different angle. This is outside of that. I don't see an Ethereum treasury company or a fucking Ripple treasury company, DeFi 10 next month. This one actually makes sense if that one specific play that they're making, if that pays off. If they're right and this on-chain ecosystem grows, trading on-chain of equities and commodities and everything, I think Hyperliquid's well placed for that. Because Circle are owned by BlackRock and are close to BlackRock and with Coinbase. And so I think a lot of on-chain stuff, you can see that coming through there too. It won't be the main venue, it's like a perpetuals, and I don't even know spot-wise much. But it's small deal, yeah. It wouldn't be hard for them to actually put bonds on. 5 volume, 50 coins, very small. So the market is very, very small for anything, and that's Tether. As well. I don't think they've even got anything. No, probably legally can't do it yet. But they'll be in a good position to eventually have spot markets as well, you know, where you can have tokenized stocks essentially. Will be something that could be done as well in the future. So I think there's an opportunity there growth wise. Price wise, wouldn't touch this right now. Or still too new. It's like all these, you know, when it IPOs or basically when it launches essentially, you get this period of negative price action typically, and then you'll see some. I'll be just waiting to see this bottom out and start to show a little bit of strength. And then for Venice, I think it's probably still months and months and months away. Either want to see really long consolidation here, or a photo trace and then another move. Weekly bands green. If they go red again, then green again, that's when I get in. Or if we see multiple weeks of consolidation, and if it really holds sideways in this area for several weeks, And then that's when it becomes really interesting to the upside. There you go. Put them on your radar. They're on my radar. Don't own them. I don't own them. I do not own them. I will not be buying them. If I go long or buy them, I will say it. There you go.
Good morning, starshine. Welcome to the real world.
GM. 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 So yesterday we had GDP, which actually did catalyze the beginning of the down move, and then we had but did the PC actually, sorry, I can double check if the core PC came out at that time, because it was all over the place. Yeah, it did. Yeah. It was kind of a nothing burger. Got in the October data as well, the delayed October data which came in, it had that, about expectation, not much change. So you basically had the top when GDP dropped, and then you had the bottom right around the PCE. And so we bought that in the first hour of the New York session, rallied into the close, overnight taken out those highs from the close of the session. And so you've got a few levels to watch. You've got the GDP level, got New York open, it's right around 89.5 from yesterday, and then we had the close, or the last push at the end of the session, and you took it out overnight, came back down, touched into some of the demand from yesterday, and is starting to move a little bit higher again. Going into New York session, I think that, there's a chance that this rips higher. I don't really think so. I think the opportunity here, like I said, on daily levels is actually set for a short, because 89.5 is the level. I've talked about it since Friday. Not Friday, what day is it? Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. 89.5, and then we drop, and we come back, we retest overnight, it holds. You get the whipsaw around Trump's speech. Tries to hold it at 89.5, 90k resistance, loses it, holds it. I think that below 89.5 we go to 87, especially if we lose 89. But it's currently doing pretty much what it will do when it's getting sold into in each of these lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Seems to be the same supply dominant market as it has been, and rallies are getting sold into. And eventually it's going to make its way lower. I think this consolidation is leaning that way. We've tested the early open, moved off it, and it's starting to retrace. I think that's going to come back for at least a retest, potentially lower. So I see a very clear setup here. I don't think it's necessarily going to win, but no trade ever is certain. But the setup's here, retested. We've hit and tried to hold 90, which failed. We've tried to hold 89.5, which failed. And I don't even think we tested. I think we might test 89.5 yesterday's New York Open and into that level going into the session. But for me, I think this is just ready for this next move lower into the 88 and 87k area. So I'll be getting short today on BTC. And it's based off this. It's not the same trade as this, because I said I wouldn't trade this part down, which is still true. This would not be a position that I'd be looking to trade down to 87. This would actually be an entry for a position that I'd be looking at as potentially going below the yearly open and trading lower. If this is the first leg down, then I think we're building for the second leg. So if you zoom it out, we top out, consolidate, that's really a first leg down. So if we're going to have a second leg, I think that can take us down closer towards the prior range low. Again, it doesn't. The good thing about this, the setup here, the 4 hour bands getting hugged, is it's wrong, and it's wrong fast. And that's what I want to see. So if this is wrong, it's wrong here at 90.5. You have a nice tight invalidation. Nice, easy. Yeah, easy is the wrong word. Nice, clear invalidation on the idea. And then if we go lower, and this DP is not, it would just be based on price itself. then I'll be watching if we do come down into these lows. If we do take that long setup, still definitely one that I'll be watching for. I think that the upside that I was looking for yesterday did not come, and time is a key element there. It did not make that move in time. It's stayed below the 50 on the 1 hour. It could not break above it, could not break above 90, it could not trend up, and I don't think it's going under from here. It does, good, fine, we'll lose the trade. Okay, I'm going in the next hour or so, and stop loss at Wednesday's high. And I'd be expecting a break today. I'd be expecting a little bit like last week. Remember, I was in a short last week. I was going into Friday and shorted off Friday's open. I got that break at the start of Friday's session, and having to grind slowly through the weekend before lower. I'm not expecting a repeat of that, obviously, but I think that this is a setup that's moving down it, and then depending on how far it goes, we can see price starting to really unwind, as Bitcoin doesn't have much holding it here. So that's it. Above 90.5, trade's wrong, we'll be out of it. The market can be higher, and if not, be positioned for some downside. So I'll post in the profit journal my actual bit that's up for. That's it.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
This is like a good entry point. It looked like a pretty healthy pullback. Now the market's moving up. Definitely trending up. It's fine. We're gonna do a lot of back testing this weekend because I want to see some different key points. Have some new insights that I want to look at. Alright guys, that's it for me. I'm gonna log off. I'm locked out for the day. There's nothing more I can really do. But yeah, gonna take a mental break. Gonna do a lot of back testing. Hopefully I want to do like about 100 back tests this weekend. And I'll see y'all later.